Okay, so as we were saying before, today my guest is Ms. Danielle Brown from Christ Enrichment Center, and she's the executive director. And we're going to talk about all the goings on up there. I know they have a tutoring program, they have the food giveaway on Fridays, and they have a lot of different services for the community. So, welcome to the show, Danielle, again. And let's just talk about all the good things that's going on up there.
Okay, so at Christ Enrichment Center, the organization has been in existence since about 1989. And what happened is Christ, Christ Episcopal Church was housed in those facilities. And the membership was dwindling some, but they didn't want the facility to be blighted. And so what they did was they changed the name and worked to build some dollars to establish a community center support organization right there on Hamilton in those facilities. And so I joined the staff of now what's called Christ Enrichment Center in 2012, in January of last year. So just a little bit over a year I've been there.
Oh, okay. Well, who ran it before?
Well, it was previously run by another executive director.
Okay.
They had an interim executive director, and then there was a gentleman who came on board originally, who coordinated the program, and volunteers and all of those kinds of folks came together to run the organization for all those years.
Right, right.
And so throughout that time, they were able to establish some program area interest. And one of those areas of interest that drives the mission of the organization is literacy.
Right.
And so we have an adult literacy program. We have an after-school enrichment program that coordinates literacy for children in the after-school hours. We have a summer day camp that incorporates literacy, and then we also do some work with basic need services like the food giveaway. And so our adult literacy program primarily services people who are attempting to get their GED, folks who need additional supports and are looking for a non-traditional environment to do that. And so they come over to the center and we do an assessment with them. And generally our program, while it's pre-GED, it's what you would consider an adult basic education program.
Oh, okay.
So we have some folks who are as low as non-readers.
Wow.
Who are coming to the program with the whole idea that for people to be able to access work, you've got to be able to have a GED. And sometimes you need different types of support to successfully obtain that GED. And that's what we are providing there. So we work with the other adult education programs in the county, as well as workforce organizations like Action Management and things like that. And they refer people over to us, and they do an assessment, and then they can either receive one-on-one tutoring or they're in a small class setting where they're working with an instructor as they progress towards being ready for a GED test.
Now, I know years ago when my son was young, it was called Christ Episcopal Center, I think it was. And they had actual classrooms that they taught classes and different things like that. And I knew a lady that taught over there for a while, and then it changed to Christ Enrichment, and I just wondered what was the difference in the teaching, because you have the volunteers, or who tutors? Are these people trained a certain way? Because, you know, like at Mott years ago, I went through a training session to tutor.
Well, let me back up. Christ Episcopal Center became Christ Enrichment Center with a goal of trying to make the center a more ecumenical center, a center that no matter what the faith of the person is, that they would feel welcome and comfortable participating in services and as well as in programming. And so that was a large part of the name change. But when it comes to the volunteers, we have a volunteer training. We also work with the Genesee County Literacy Coalition, and they train volunteers. The one-on-one training is done with our staff person and or a volunteer. And we also have work study students who are helping out with some of that as well. And those folks that are doing the small group class, they have a master's level trained teacher And he works with them in small groups in the classroom setting. And it's really broken down by skill level. So depending on how well you come able to function, then you may be in the one-on-one, or if you're progressed a little further, then you'll be in the small group class.
Okay. So now, that one word you said, ecumenical, what does that mean?
Ecumenical means of all different denominations and all different faiths, and so it's not limited to Christianity.
Okay.
It's anyone that's a believer, a person of faith, and so that's the reason why we chose to move from the term Christ Episcopal, which is a specific denomination,
Right.
to Christ Enrichment.
Okay.
Center.
So anybody that gets referred there can come there, and they get their referrals from.
Well, for the adult literacy program, you can self-refer, but we get referrals from New Path, from the workforce organizations. We get referrals from Mount Adult High School, Bendel Carmen Ainsworth, any of those programs. And and how the referral really works is the person says that they need some supports. They may do an assessment at one of those locations, or they may not. But then they call themselves to the center, and we schedule for them to have an assessment. And the assessment is really just to see where we want to place you.
Right.
And if a person is very advanced, almost ready to take the test, what we would do is recommend that they may, for example, go to Mount Adult for a one semester session versus staying with us, because so many of our students are working to get caught up further.
Right.
So we don't want to waste anyone's time. If they're ready to take the GED test, when they come in and assess with us, we would forward them directly to an organization where they can do the GED testing.
Right. So what about, say, special needs people that have trouble reading and math and that kind of stuff? Does Christ Enrichment service those people?
During the tutor training, we are able to look at the variety of skills and issues that a person may have in relationship to their ability to learn, some of the barriers that they may run into, the different learning styles and learning types. And so our tutors, therefore, are able to work with people who have a variety of needs and are able to look for certain types of issues that they may be seeing with a learner.
Okay.
And additionally, we have the oversight of the lead instructor for the one-on-one tutoring, and she's able to also work with the volunteers if they're sharing that the person they're working with isn't progressing.
Now, how did you get started with the food bank food giveaway? Because I know practically every church around here gives out food. So how did Christ Enrichment Center get involved with that?
Well, Christ Enrichment Center's work with the food giveaway is a little bit different. We are what the food bank would consider to be a reclamation site, which what that means is we get a truck or two possibly.
Yeah, I've come up there. There's two.
Lately, we've been getting two trucks, and we, because of where we're located and the population that we're willing to service, that we don't have any real barriers other than need. And so we were identified and asked if that was something that we had the capacity to manage.
Okay.
And so, and my position on that was, as long as we have volunteers that can support this effort, because it's huge.
It's huge.
It is. I met with someone on yesterday from a ministry. They came by and they do something a little smaller than what we're doing, and they said this is an enormous operation.
Yeah.
And it really has been that. But what we provide is a client choice pantry, where a person is able to come in and they're able to receive so many items depending on what the items may be.
Right.
And so sometimes we have a lot of bread and a lot of drinks. We'll get cakes and pies and things like that. But then also we get fresh vegetables. Sometimes we'll have fresh fruit, but we always have some form of a fresh vegetable that's coming in. And I think that that's somewhat of an effort on the food bank's part to make sure that some of the things that may be higher cost, in the store that
Right.
families are able to access and get away from this whole perspective that the only thing that you can get from a food giveaway would be a bunch of junk food.
Junk food. And the other thing I like is that you have meat on occasion.
Yes.
And recently you've been doing really well at getting more and more meat, and the clients really enjoy that.
Yes, and sometimes, so we recently have been getting meat from the truck, which is great. Sometimes when we have months where we don't, because we don't know what's going to be coming.
Right.
And so sometimes we will purchase some meat to add to the trucks, especially around specific holidays and things like that. And I think that that works out well for the families, just really making an effort to support the meals that a family may be able to do some purchasing, but we would provide some support. We also sometimes get hygiene items, and we are definitely looking at how to make sure that people are able to access those, and then also are able to identify locations that can support the hygiene stuff.
Yeah, and you've had cleaning supplies, which really it's costly in the store.
Definitely.
And it's good to have paper products like that, toilet paper, paper towel, cleaning supplies, because those are the things that I just wait for them to go on sale and stock up. You go in my garage, it's like a store.
Exactly.
Because it's so expensive, and meat, is costly. And whenever I go downstairs and I'll tell everybody that we have some meat, I mean, they're just like jumping for joy.
Exactly.
And they love it.
And when you just mentioned going downstairs, one of the things that we've done is we've made some transition to how we allow people to come to the food giveaway. During the warmer months, we have people, they come and they get a number at a certain time, and then they wait until we open our doors. And so we start giving out the numbers around 7:30, quarter to 8. And then in the warmer months, we wait a little longer. We start giving out the numbers around 8 o'clock or so.
Right.
But then our doors open for the food giveaway part somewhere between a quarter to 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. I think you know this better than even I do.
Yeah.
And in the warmer months, people are able to wait outdoors. And in the colder months, what we've done is we've moved to allowing people to wait indoors in our basement area, and then they come from the basement area to the pantry.
Right.
And so one of the things that we had to consider is allowing people who walk to the center to be able to access the food and not leave them outdoors in the winter months. But it has become a small barrier for some people who have a hard time making it down the stairs. And so we always make sure that people understand that there are food giveaways throughout the entire city.
Right.
And we post that information so that people know that Monday through Friday you're able to go to one of those sites that does a reclamation, like what we do as well.
And they're everywhere. I mean, everywhere. So to me, there's no reason that people should go hungry, because everybody gives out food.
And when you complete the paperwork, it really is an opportunity for you to say that you have a need. We're not saying, give me a photograph of what's in your refrigerator.
Right.
We're saying if you say you have a need, then you have a need.
Right.
And we're working with folks in that way.
Now, I noticed that some churches have a zip code zone. Christ Enrichment doesn't have that per se.
We don't do that at this time. That is something that I've thought about, because we do have an identified service area that we're really trying to penetrate.
Right.
But because it hasn't become a huge issue at this point, then we've been willing to work with anyone that's able to come.
Yeah, because when I check the IDs, I've seen people come from Saginaw, and they said they don't really have anything like that over there. And to me, that's really a need, that you have to go to another city, to a giveaway like that.
And you have to also understand that the style that organizations provide the food are different. We use a client choice pantry style, so we don't pre-make boxes.
Yeah, some of them pre-make the boxes,
whatever they want to choose, and some people just truly have a preference, to be able to choose. And it also builds a lot of humanity within the process. That I don't tell you that because of what you're doing financially, that this is what you get to eat.
Right.
You get the opportunity to say, well, I don't want this or I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it helps with the waste.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, that I didn't get a chance to share about is we do have after school programming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's under our enrichment arm of programming.
Okay, the enrichment part.
The enrichment part is all enrichment, but
All
the
enrichment.
after school program we specifically title our enrichment programming.
Mm-hmm.
And we have after school programming Monday through Thursday beginning at 4 o'clock. We have dinner at 4 o'clock, and then from 5 to 7, students can participate in one-on-one tutoring,
Mm-hmm.
or we also have classes. So, for example, on a Monday evening, we have piano, karate, and computer lab. And so a student's family can sign them up for any of those programs.
Is there a certain age limit?
Right now, we primarily are servicing children that are about up to the age 14 with the after school program, but we're considering some restructuring of that in the fall.
Right.
But right now, we still are adding students, and the youngest age is about 6. So kindergarten up to about the 9th grade is the range of students that are participating in the after school program. But for example, with one of our older students, she comes with her family, and so we wouldn't turn anyone away if it was a family that was bringing their children. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we offer dance classes, art classes. We have a new art instructor, and the students are just having a great time. She does things with clay and also ceramics, that kind of a thing. And then we also African drum and dance, tap, creative writing, and those kinds of programs. And so children are able to come again, and the cost for that it's like about 14-week program is $25 per child. And there are scholarships available, and primarily those scholarships are for children and families that are living in the Dort Elementary School and Doyle Ryder Elementary School area, and those families who are receiving food assistance.
Oh, okay.
And we also have scholarships for children whose parents are participating in the adult literacy program as well.
So now when you say they come up at 4 and they have dinner, who provides the dinner?
Christ Enrichment Center provides dinner nightly.
What? I haven't been coming up there to eat. You didn't tell me that.
Yes, what are we having tonight? Well, yesterday was Chef's Choice, but the center
Who's
was
the
closed.
chef?
Her name is Lisa Gibson, and yesterday was Chef's Choice. But since we had President's Day, we didn't have that. Today is
Taco Tuesday.
I believe we have today is hot dogs. So we have hot dogs this week. Tomorrow we'll be having tuna salad with the macaroni tuna salad. We have a vegetable, a fruit, a carbohydrate, a protein that's attached to the meal, and it's through the Kids Cafe program.
Oh, okay.
And so we do our shopping and our preparation, and again we work with the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan with that program. So there's some reimbursement.
So that means when they come up to do work, they're not sitting there starving, poor thing, stomach be growling, and they can't concentrate.
Exactly. And I know that some of the children are going to be looking forward to next Thursday, because on February the 28th, we're going to be doing a fundraiser, and the dinner that night is going to be a soul food dinner for the children.
Oh, snap.
From 4 to 5, and then following that, we'll have the soul food dinner and a theater program for adults, 5:30 to 7 p.m. It's a Black History Month dinner theater with a soul food buffet.
So that's from like 4 to 7.
Well, that program would be from 5:30 to about 7:30.
Oh, okay.
And so the children will be participating in that, as well as some of our instructors pulling together a informational, historical, and entertaining program. We have an auditorium at the center, and so we have a nice stage and all that. And so it's always a great time when we have programming on the stage.
And you have food.
especially, and we have food. And
Bringing
so
them in.
exactly, we have, we're going to be doing turkey and dressing and cornbread dressing. So we're going to be clear because
For
it's a soul
real.
food dinner.
Yes.
Cornbread dressing. We'll have chicken and peas, black-eyed peas and okra.
Black-eyed peas
and rice and cabbage greens and
who's cooking all?
collard greens.
I'm getting hungry already.
And cornbread and lemon cake. My mother doesn't know that she's doing that. She has this lemon cake that she does that we're going to be having some of that and pound cake.
Now, do the kids eat enough soul food, or is this going to be mostly for the grown people?
Well, this is mostly for the adults, but at the same time, the children will be able to have a dinner portion. So they won't be paying to participate.
Right, because some of them won't eat that. I know my boy, he's real finicky about certain things. Like, he'll eat squid, but he won't eat green beans. And I always use an example of that. Now, swans have those fried green beans. He'll eat that. Okay. But just like if I want to fry some corn,
he doesn't want fried corn.
He don't want fried corn. He don't eat corn on the cob.
No corn on the cob.
But he'll eat squid.
But squid.
He'll eat octopus. He'll eat all of that.
Well, at Thanksgiving time, the person who was our former chef, at Thanksgiving time, she did a Thanksgiving dinner, and they ate everything. She made macaroni and cheese. As
now
well.
he likes that.
And I think we're doing some macaroni and cheese with the dinner also. But she made all of that type of stuff.
Sweet potatoes.
They just ate it all up. So some children are still eating soul food. I know. My children, they like real food.
Yeah. I'm from the country. I eat everything.
And they like hot food. That's what my goddaughter always says. I don't want nachos. I want hot food.
That means real food.
She wants real food. And so, anyway, so we'll be doing that event on the 28th. And for more information, feel free to call Christ Enrichment Center at 239-9425. We're taking reservations right now for that. And
how much is it?
It's $10.
A person?
$10 a person.
Okay.
It's $80 for a table of 8. So we look forward to having participation from the community, and all of the proceeds for this program will be going to our adult enrichment program. Our after school enrichment program. We're looking at there's a need there, and we want to be able to continue to provide that type of programming. And so we were able to pull together some activities, and we're just excited about what we're going to be doing with this. This is our first Black History Month dinner theater, so I'm excited about
an event.
This event.
You'll make it an annual event?
That's our goal. So we're hoping that things will work out well, and I believe they will.
I believe they will, because for $10 you'll get soul food.
Exactly.
You better bring the neighborhood.
Exactly. We'll be opening a soul food restaurant soon.
That's what I'm saying.
Christ Enrichment Center soul food restaurant.
Soul food restaurant.
No, we won't. No, we won't. Health department. No, we won't. No, we won't.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding. No, we won't.
John's a health inspector.
No, we won't. We're just kidding.
Yeah, because they're eager to check everything out.
Right, they'll come in and be like, that's pretty good.
I
Who cooked
can
this?
never work for the government because I'm like, basically I think this way, life has got a lot of risks, so you just take risk, and it's like, and I couldn't stand being these enforcers. I mean, some of these guys are so, I don't know, they're bureaucrats. I can't stand them, but I mean, they get overly zealous. I think a lot of them do.
Yeah.
I can see standards because we don't want to go to a restaurant and get sick and die because they're doing stupid stuff. But sometimes they just go overboard. Because my grandparents had a restaurant. Some of the people, they got marked down on some stuff. They had nothing really to do with the health or risk or anything else like that. Just cosmetic stuff, basically.
Yeah, well, the goal is that we want to make sure that everyone is safe. I mean, and I've even had some, I'm always really conscientious about that, about safety in totality.
Right.
We are We are located in a neighborhood that has a lot of different things that are going on, but we don't have problems. And I think
Right.
that is really the nature of how you don't have problems. You build relationships with people,
Right.
and
Everybody look out for each
and
other.
everyone looks out for each other, and that's how we all choose, because it's a choice to be safe. We choose to be safe together.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I also appreciate about what we're able to do at Christ Enrichment Center. In the summertime, we work with the Keep Genesee County Beautiful program as a park tender for the park that's called Durant Park next door to us.
Right, right.
And so we do quite a bit to keep the park clean and keep it accessible to families and children. And we're excited because we have a new baseball diamond.
Oh.
And we're looking forward to some of the outdoor sports activities that we'll be able to host in the summer months.
Well, I get the kids outside. We were just talking about how a lot of kids like to play video games. Want to get them outside, get some sun on their faces.
Exactly.
And some kids may have never played baseball or anything like that.
Exactly. This past summer, we worked in partnership with the Flint Baseball League, and they really helped with some of the fundamentals of that sport. And so I'm looking forward to being able to do some things like that, as well as kickball with the diamond.
Right.
And
Well,
then
that's that
also
space between Dort School?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
between Dort Elementary School
Right.
and Christ Enrichment Center. So yeah, so we're looking forward to that. I should add, I mentioned family enrichment programming because we will be starting a Zumba class the first week in March. It's a 6 week class, 6 week class. Ugh. And our instructor, she also teaches at U of M in the fitness department, Miss Tanya. And the class is only going to be $25 for 6 weeks, 2 days a week.
Oh, okay.
Thursday at 5:30 and Saturdays at 12:30 in the afternoon. And so we're looking forward to starting our Zumba class.
And that's going to be at the center?
It'll be at Christ Enrichment Center, 322 East Hamilton Street.
On the corner of Orange.
Yes, between Orin and Bonbright.
Right.
Next to Dort Elementary
Up on the
School.
little hill.
On the little hill.
I know people ask me where is it? You know, I'll tell the neighbors and everything about coming up there for Fridays, and they're always like, "Where is it? Where is it?" I said, "It's right there on the hill behind Dort School." And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a light," and then they go right on past it.
Exactly. We're directly across from Christ Fellowship Church, and so whenever you pass two churches that are right across from each other, Christ Enrichment Center is the older looking building. It's more historical looking
Well,
facility.
it's seen its years, but it's still going strong.
Absolutely, and we're excited about all of the commitments that are being made from a variety of partners to sustain not just the facility, but the programming
Right.
that we're able to offer there.
Well, you know, when you say Zumba, I know a lady that does cradle yoga.
Okay.
And then I also know a belly dancer.
Wow. So if we can get some folks to come out and participate
Yeah.
in the Zumba class, then we can look at other activities for adults.
Yeah.
On Saturdays, I participate in the African drum and dance class that's sponsored by Afro Jabe African Village. And so I've been having a really phenomenal time, not just fantastic, but phenomenal
Yeah.
time dancing. And so we're always looking for more adults to participate in that class as well. And then we also have group meetings for the Healthy Start program through the health department for young moms that are either pregnant or have children already. And so they're coming to the center and doing support groups and consortium meetings once a month. And we're talking about a variety of things. And one of the things we've been talking about recently is boundaries and setting healthy boundaries for yourself as a woman and setting healthy boundaries for yourself as a mother.
So is that including like nutrition and stuff?
There-
Because you know we have a volunteer that teaches that, Debbie.
Oh, really?
And she had asked me about it, and I said, "Well, get with you," because she was thinking that might be some. But I didn't know that you had any classes or anything like that.
We do. We provide that activity once a week in partnership with the Genesee County Health Department.
Oh, okay.
And so we are working to be not just a facility that has our own set of programming, but a resource for other entities to provide programming that would be beneficial to that community and the greater Flint community.
Activities. What else could we do?
Well, I am excited about the role that we can play in the upcoming master plan for the city of Flint. That if we can engage more community members to voice and be involved in creating the vision for the community, that we are definitely a meeting place for that type of effort.
Right.
I'm looking forward to us revisiting how we engage more teams in healthy fitness as well as academic support.
Right.
And so we're looking at that. And also how we are establishing more partnerships with other ministries who may have some activities, but there's a lot of work attached to all of this programming and services that we're offering.
Right, right.
And so a church may be able to do an after-school tutoring program on Monday and Wednesday and may really be interested in their students participating in art and dance classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, on Mondays and Wednesdays, or the opposite. So that they may be doing some things at their church and then bringing some children over to do some things at the center that they may not be able to provide, and how we can work together in partnership. And that really is the word: partnership, collaboration, and coordination.
Right.
Because no one here in our community is rich per se.
Right, right.
And rich people are supporting what it is that we're trying to do. But we all have to work together to be able to do the most, get the bang for the buck.
And when you spoke about creative writing, I know a few authors that you might one time set up an event to have them come and speak to the students that are interested in creative writing.
Definitely.
And they can give them some pointers, and I don't know if you know Kellen Brandon, but he just did The Young Boy That's
wrote... our center.
Oh, okay.
That young man is a student at Christ Enrichment Center.
Okay.
They built the book at Christ Enrichment Center.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, and
so he works with us.
And so I was just thinking of that, and so it could be other kids that want to do it. Like when they showed him on the news, the other kids were saying how they thought they could do it, and then they didn't, and now they see him. And
definitely. And so Kellen is at the center doing. He has a class there, and we're looking at creatively how to get other youth and adults to get more engaged in the writing process, because it is a process.
I know. I'm trying to write a book. I'll be 117 by the time it's done.
Even when we look at what it is that we're doing for adults, sometimes just sharing their story is so empowering that they are able to go forward independently better than they once were, just because they chose to liberate themselves by writing.
Yeah.
One other thing that we are interested in doing in relationship to partnership is more activities with etiquette. There are some organizations that are doing certain things, but because we're trying to partner and there's very little dollars for these types of things, having people that may be interested in teaching those types of skills.
Like pull your pants up.
Pull your pants up, but how do you play? But the whole idea about how do you properly use silverware.
Right,
and place a napkin across your lap. We have young people that are going to be leaving this community. They're not going to be here forever.
Right.
They may go away to college and then come back here and become a professional here. But in the meantime, they are a representation of us. And they are our future leaders.
And then they put that napkin up here and it's all over.
Exactly. So we want them excuse me, to be able to handle themselves in any scenario. And starting at a younger age so they can have an interest in being a leader. So
you would need people to volunteer their time versus bringing people in that you had to pay.
Sometimes we're able to find some dollars, but for a program like this specifically, there are quite a few people who have a skill set.
Right.
And I should add that for all of our volunteers, we do a background check just to make sure that, I'm saying in relationship to those who be working with minor children.
Right.
We do a background check to make sure that they are safe for participation in our programming with the children. And then after that, we really are looking at creative ideas,
Right.
how we can work together, people who are willing to be committed to do the activity to completion,
Right.
and ideas. But there are a lot of ideas, but those other two pieces that I just talked about, committed and committed to completion,
Right.
are the pieces that we need for the best volunteers.
Right.
Those volunteers do the very best job. They have an idea, they start it,
They follow
finish
through it, yeah. Because it's hard to get started on something and then have to walk away. But stuff happens. But when you're doing something like teaching etiquette classes,
Children
and,
especially.
yeah, with children, you don't want to drop off the deep end because they're like failure, loser.
Exactly. They become adults and see you in the community and they say, "That's a lady.
She started with us and she left us."
And she left us." And really, that's where we have a lot of struggle with our community too right now. It's not just people who start things and fall off like that, but there are a lot of children that have separation for family members,
Right.
have death, and things like that. So there's a different level of commitment needed when you have children that are already having some issues and some family struggles.
Right, right. Now, a while back too, they used to have counselors up there, like for kids and family. Do you still support that?
We don't provide counseling and therapy at this point. The closest thing that I would say that we do have to that is on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday evenings for those who are in recovery. We have Narcotic Anonymous meetings held there,
Okay.
and it starts at 7 p.m. Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night.
Okay.
3 different groups are there, and it's not a therapy program, but it's definitely a support group that's for that recovery population.
Right.
We may at some time in the future begin to revisit the idea of doing therapy at the Center for Youth and Families, but it's not anything that we've gotten involved with at this point.
Right, right. Wow. Well, it's been an interesting show today. I learned a lot about Christ Enrichment that I didn't even know.
Good.
So I'm glad that you took the time out of your busy day to come and talk to us. And we're going to wrap the show up today. Next week, we're having Mr. Sam Johari coming back. Sam leads the program called Chasing the Dragon, which is about kids and heroin. And a lot of people know he lost a daughter to an overdose of heroin. So I want to thank you, Danielle, for coming in. And we're going to come up and eat, so just look for us.
Okay.
So if there's anything else you want to pass out to our viewers before we sign off, anything?
Well, I'll share this little piece. In the summertime, we worked with Farline Randall with Bangtown Productions, and the students and I did a song, and we just call it the Christ Enrichment song. So I'd like to leave you with a portion of it.
Okay, let's hear it.
It goes like this. And they'll know we're Christ Enrichment by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're Christ Enrichment by our love.
Wow. See, I could sing like that. You want to hear it, John? You want to hear? No, you don't want to hear it. Please say you don't want to hear it.
I just thought your specialty was dancing. So.
Oh, yeah, that too. He's got a pole for me upstairs.
Oh, no. And there'll be more songs and dancing at the fundraiser, but not that kind of
Not
dancing.
that kind of dancing.
February 28th at Christ Enrichment Center.
All right, make sure everybody come out that day and help Danielle and Christ Enrichment Center support Black History Month, and of course, eat some of the good soul food. And the price is
$10.
$10 a person. And that money goes back into the center and to help her continue to do good within the community. So in saying that, this is the Flaminpit Show, and we're signing off. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.